What up, peeps, and welcome to a Finance Guy podcast, a show for all genders and species about bringing some humanity and a bit of fun to the world of finance and tech and leaving you with a little something that can help you on your way. All right, please enjoy. Thanks. All right, welcome everybody to another episode of the Finance Guys and Tech podcast and Finance Guys TV. It's been a little bit now since our last episode after this whole working from home thing has become the new normal, but today we've got Sid on the line here, and we just want to chat and get in touch with you guys again and start getting more episodes out, even though it's been a little bit of a change of pace now the last month being away from the office. So Sid, how's it going, man? Welcome to the show. It's been about a month since we've done this.
Yeah, I know, man. Actually I was missing the show,
Yeah.
And I think it gives us a good opportunity to connect with people who are, at different, doing, doing different work activities, and doing different job profiles. It helps us learn a lot. But I think, because of this coronavirus thing, we had to stop this for almost, I think, 2 months now.
Yeah. The last one we did, we put out the beginning of last month, and I kind of missed it too. Just getting the chance to sit down with people and talk about things outside the normal scope of work, and just kind of adapting to. I mean, there's no reason we can't keep doing it on via video, but how's it treated you the last month? What is your thoughts and feelings about working from home now? Probably going on 5 weeks for us at least. What do you think about the whole thing?
No, I see, Charlie, there are definitely pros and cons, for this. So one of the pros is, I don't drive so much. Usually, I spend close to 2 hours driving, to and from office, and I think that time is definitely saved.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, what it has done is that the amount of work has actually increased a lot, and I don't know what is the reason for that. Maybe people have become more efficient because they're not traveling, so they're working more.
Huh. Yeah.
So I think the amount of work has definitely increased, and yeah. And one thing I really miss about is that human interaction. For all our viewers, Charlie and I sit next to each other, and we are definitely talking a lot, sharing models, talking about different problems. So I really miss that human element,
Yeah.
And
Yeah. It's
I don't
been.
know. What about you?
I'm the same way. Like taking off the commuting time has added a lot of time back to the day. But it is strange kind of working on your own. I think a lot of things that you can drop by someone's desk and just chat quickly is done more. Maybe that's why the workload seems higher, is because you put it into an email. It sort of becomes like a formal like communication as opposed to like what was previously done maybe informally. It's a little strange where in our position, working in AWS infrastructure, we're still trying to manage the same workload and we're still pretty much putting out the same amount of deliverables, whereas many industries, ones that are brick and mortar, restaurants and gyms and things like that, like are just in a completely different paradigm right now. Like people's businesses are shutting down, people are getting furloughed. So it's kind of been strange where like our biggest battle is how do you adapt to like the normal, how do you go about business as usual remotely, whereas most people it's not business as usual at all. It's either drastically changed or completely halted. That's been strange for me. That's been the weirdest part.
I actually agree. So maybe our points are quite trivial. In fact, we are blessed to work in a company like Amazon, which is right now flooded with there's a lot of business for us, and so I think our pros and cons are very trivial. If you look at people who are healthcare workers who are actually, for them it's more like a battle.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, there are different industries like hospitality, aviation, you know, brick and mortar stores. I think this is this is actually a time to, you know, like think deeply about, what are actually the priorities, for for government, for different companies,
Yeah.
because if you look at it, and I sometimes think about it, it's a virus which has basically brought the entire world to a standstill, So, were we addressing the correct problems when we said, okay, let's move to self-driving cars.
Mm.
Let's you know
Well,
like let's move to a different planet altogether.
I
So
mean, yeah, it's sort of like a weird uniting thing globally, right?
correct.
There's no country that is exempt from thinking about it. And there's something like amidst like how tragic and terrible it is, there's something that can out of that I think something good that can come out of us sort of thinking more as like as just one planet and one humanity. But it is it's strange to think about like going back, like people talk about when will it go back to normal, and that's the one
Mhm.
thing to me that I can't really wrap my head around is like you would expect, after going through things like 9/11 or like just other, big events, there's like that there's going to be like a mourning period, a recovery period, and you'll rebuild. But in this, there's no like tangible thing that makes it go back to normal to me.
Correct. And Charlie, that's so, like, I was telling this same thing to Nikita a few days back, that when 9/11 happened, or any big incident that happened in India, we knew that there will be a phase when things will go back to normal. But the issue with this is that this pandemic is, like, I personally don't have any visibility, like when this things will come to normal, like China's GDP has dropped significantly, US GDP will drop significantly, and then you never know until the vaccine comes out, and which is like a period of almost 16 to 18 months,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
So so it's pretty scary to just to uh, you know think about it,
Yeah, yeah, and it's like, people say, okay, we'll kind of have the isolation thing for a month or 2 months or 3 months, and even then, you think like, okay, so if people start going back outside in May or June or July, like, what's not going to make it kind of flare back up and be in the same position? That's the thing I can't wrap my head around is, what does it look like in two? Does it really start to get back to normal that quickly, or is this sort of new normal going to last maybe a little bit longer than we would initially think? Um,
Yeah, I think this what this would actually do is, there will be a paradigm shift in how businesses, look at, running their businesses, basically. I think um, I think a lot of things might move online, you know and like social distancing will basically become a norm, is 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 what I'm alluding to,
yeah, yeah. Well, it's definitely made a lot of people, just and myself personally, just my interactions with, well, at work but also with friends and families, like people just taking to the internet
Mm-hmm.
now and connecting, and there's certain ways where I'm connecting with people more than before this thing happened, in a weird
That is
way,
true.
you know
That is true. That is true.
and I think,
Yeah.
yeah, and I think, and as far as like businesses go, I'm sure that many, like the things that they're forced to do now will persist. They'll find actually a lot of the things they're doing now are useful, even
Yeah.
under normal circumstances.
I agree with that. In fact, like, just to share, like, in India we use WhatsApp a lot. So my entire family is on WhatsApp. So everyone cooks food every day, new dishes. They're sharing on the WhatsApp group the
Yeah,
photographs of new dishes. So
yeah,
people are just finding ways to connect.
yeah.
I think.
I had
Uh,
my buddies from back home in New York, actually. We started um, playing like a poker group online on Friday nights,
oh, really?
where
Okay.
everyone kind of like joins like a virtual poker table, and then separately, like, we open a Zoom call and just have everyone kind of on the Zoom call in parallel, And I actually don't even play poker. I just go on the Zoom call and I'll be like just working on my computer or browsing the internet, doing other stuff, but I just hang out and just chat with
Yeah.
everyone. And we never did anything like that. And we all live like a lot of them live in New York, but a lot of us live in separate cities. And we could have easily done that, but we never have. And then under like the current situation, we decided let's just start connecting more. And that's maybe a nice thing that comes out of it amidst all the difficulty. But
Yeah,
um,
and like my wife was talking to me. In fact, she had a call with all of her engineering undergrad roommates.
yeah,
Can you imagine? So this is something like people who were with you 15 years back, sharing the same dorm sort of,
yeah,
and they had a video call after you know like maybe this pandemic was an opportunity for them to actually connect
yeah,
uh, virtually.
yeah. I see that happening a lot. Um,
Yeah.
I want to ask you
Anyway.
what's something like you say you've got kind of new routines at home. Like what's something at home that like has been kind of indispensable for you as far as like whether it's I know you guys have the treadmill that you use all the time or like what's some of the
Uh,
activities you do and what's something that has been kind of yeah, what's something that's been kind of
yeah,
indispensable to keep your sanity?
yeah. I think uh, I'm basically running a lot, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and I think since we are not putting in our steps, but in office you're moving between meetings.
Yeah.
I think running for an hour actually helps you. Helps my brain to work actually.
Yeah.
And keep you fit. I think for me running has is definitely a blessing,
Yeah.
and thank God I got the treadmill, my second treadmill at the right time, because getting it now would have been very tough because there was a guy who came in and installed the stuff.
Oh yeah.
So
Probably demand has gone up too. What
possibly I was doing a small walk in my community. I saw a Peloton um, uh, bus. I think those guys had actually come for an installation in one of the homes in my neighborhood.
yeah.
So I think definitely.
I have some friends back home in New York that own a cycling gym, like kind of like Soul Cycle thing, but a smaller gym. And they had to completely shut down. And what they ended
Yeah,
up
I saw
doing,
that LinkedIn post, and I remember you guys were very close,
yeah,
and I felt sad actually. I thought of talking to you about it.
well, so what they did is they took all the bikes from their studios and they actually
Uh-huh.
delivered them to all of their like their clients' houses. They actually
Oh
delivered
wow.
the bikes and people are just renting the bikes at home and they're streaming cycling workouts on like Zoom and people
Oh, is
are
it?
and they're so like people are renting the bikes out and they're like selling classes online. It's kind of like
Are they doing it in Seattle? I might.
no, but you know what? The funny thing is, like they were always kind of bound by physical locations, and the funny thing is, like after something like this, maybe it's a model where they can expand to other cities without having to,
Yeah.
open up a physical location. So it's kind of it's cool seeing some of the innovations that come out of it. That your hand is forced, and that was one that to me was kind of close to home that I thought was pretty cool. What about like at work? What's something that's been like working well or like what's something new or useful that as far as communicating like with the team or with the business partners anything come to mind there?
Actually, for me, so for me, actually, it has helped in a way, like when I do modeling, when I do financial modeling, I can, I'm sitting alone
Yeah,
and I can focus very well.
yeah,
And so I think that part is really helping in terms of you are alone and you can focus very well.
yeah,
So in terms of work, that is something which is helping. But the downside is that you cannot bounce your ideas with other teammates.
yeah, yeah,
Otherwise it is like if you want to bounce the idea, you can immediately I can ping you or somebody else in the team,
yeah,
and then we can have a small a session on that. But that is basically a little tough. So you can focus,
yeah,
but you cannot bounce your ideas around so
yeah.
easily.
I was gonna say like one thing that I've noticed we've used more is we have that chat room open in Chime for our team, which
Yeah.
we use a lot more, and not it's really not for work related stuff as much as it's to just check in and say hello.
Yeah.
I find those little interactions actually they're just uplifting. They make you feel a little bit more connected to something. Um, and that's probably something that, like, I think even when we end up going back to the office, it's something that we'll probably take to and and continue to use more often.
Yeah,
So
and I also enjoyed that virtual happy hour that we did.
yes,
I think
yeah.
I think specifically you never attend happy hours. I don't know that is your thing,
Well,
but
you know what?
it is good.
Yeah,
It is good to see you, your wife, Lila, everyone.
yeah.
I think that is pretty cool.
It was a lot of fun. I mean, like happy hours a lot of time, like, I catch the bus home to West Seattle. A lot of times I have to kind of decide between like staying out a little bit later or catching the bus home to the family, and like you just make the trade off. But like a virtual happy hour actually worked really well and could like include my wife
Mm,
and daughter. But I thought that was cool too. Yeah. And
yeah. And tell you what's happening. Like one thing, like see people like us who are young, we can go online, do a lot of shopping, but you know, but all those people who are not technology savvy, for them it is. I think it is. This is super challenging. I sometimes think about my parents,
yeah,
and they're still going out to grocery stores
yeah.
and and so what do you think about that? I know your parents also go out to grocery stores and
Yeah,
all.
yeah, they've been going too. They kind of you go kind of off peak times, or you kind of just be careful, and the stores have some measures set up. But it's my folks said that some of the grocery stores have like senior hours, where like for senior citizen hours, where only people of over a certain age can go, which sort of reduces the amount of traffic, which is good. But yeah, I it's kind of like I've heard a few.
And they're in New York,
They're in New York, yeah, they're in New York. They're
yeah,
on Long
yeah.
Island. And I get kind of scared from time to time because I'll see a post on Facebook of somebody in my network who knew somebody that got like I've seen several people now that have got the virus and have
Oh, is it?
passed away from it that
Oh
are
my God.
through like friends of friends on Facebook they're connected to. You see a post and it
Yeah,
like all of a sudden something that seems like you're just being careful and tiptoeing around. You're like, damn, there's like real consequences. There's real like life or death consequences on this. So that kind of that makes me a little bit nervous. And
mhm,
I just see naturally like the infrastructure expanding because my parents are out in Long Island in the suburbs where delivery is not as like ever present as in the middle of like an urban center. Like we are kind of even on the outskirts of Seattle, we're pretty centrally located.
mm.
Um, Let me ask you this: what's kind of like as we kind of we'll kind of wrap up the conversation soon. What's something like what's a message that you would say to people who like are maybe like something uplifting or inspiring to people who are like just kind of confused by these times or maybe kind of scared? What's something you would say as like a positive message?
When the going gets tough, the tough gets going. I think although it looks philosophical, but I think uh, the entire human race is so powerful, and I think this is a tough situation, and we have faced a lot of odds, the entire human civilization per se. So I think we'll get over it, and we'll be more stronger, you know. And think I think I think that's it.
Yeah,
How about you?
me, I don't know. I guess my thoughts would be that there's always I don't want to use the word silver lining, but there's always an opportunity that comes out of change. There's an opportunity to do things that are different, that sometimes can lead to benefits you might not have explored otherwise. And a lot of the connecting that people are starting to do through the internet on a more frequent basis, I think is a good thing. And I think keeping the priorities aligned of what's important in life. Um, I think it's an opportunity to kind of sit around the internet campfire, tell some stories,
Yeah.
connect and bond. And it's something we can come out of with maybe a better focus on our human connection and what we have in common. And I think, yeah, like you said, out of tragedy, we always unite together stronger and put the petty differences aside. So I see that as something that we're going to have to do out of this, and that we will. So That's all. That's all, really. Just gotta.
Yep. I think, yeah. So
So
I think on that positive note, we should end this conversation, and I hope, so definitely we'll keep on continuing with this podcast.
yeah,
But I hope we get out of this as soon as possible, and let's see.
yeah, and let's
hopefully for the best.
yeah, and just for everyone listening, like, look forward to us having some more guests on soon. We're gonna get back to a regular schedule of getting people on, because now more than ever is a good time to connect and do this. So looking forward to the next couple we got lined up. We'll get after it next week, and that's it, man. Just keep trucking on. All right. I'll talk to you later.
What up, everybody? Thanks for tuning into the podcast. Don't forget to subscribe. Feel free to leave a rating, a review, what have you. But most of all, go have a fantastical day. Okay? We'll see you soon. Goodbye.